we are going to get ourselves to a space where when you walk into a curling club, we treat everyone like a human being. And that is the inclusion I want to see.
Sounds simple, but nuanced problems call for nuanced solutions. Curling hasn't been as inclusive as other sports, not for nefarious reasons, but because the key stakeholders in the sport haven't been as intentional about it until now. The greatest example is the United We Curl initiative, which consists of a vast collection of those embedded in the game across North America who have come together in response to the racial reckoning that followed the murder of George Floyd to ask themselves why many people from equity-deserving groups don't feel safe in the sport and what fundamental changes can be made to make that less the case over time.
So I think the Brooms and where they're coming from, we have Black and Indigenous designers that are the focus of the creation of the designs, and what does that mean? So reflecting back on those communities and trying to raise awareness about what's actually happening within different communities.
For over 2 decades, Nova Scotian Andrew Paris has been a player, mentor, and coach in the sport. He founded the Black Rock Initiative to help change the game and designed his broom in the name of fellow Black maritimer and civil rights trailblazer Viola Desmond. Andrew is a symbol that Black representation matters.
Throughout the pandemic and throughout the different things that we've seen south of the border, now it's time for me to step up and do something. So it's to having conversations with Aaron Flowers from Goldline Curling. We got together and said, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I just took off and ran with it.
Graydon Yee Luison is a Saskatchewan First Nation curler who every time he or anyone else uses his broom, brings his reservation with him in the hopes that curling expands to Indigenous communities.
At the start, I had my doubts. I definitely talked with my grandma and my mom. I said, what do you think about this? Like, yeah, do it. It's a good opportunity, brings awareness. I just thought bringing inclusion to curling is good, because back home there's really no Indigenous curlers. I definitely kind of want to be like Ethan Bear as to hockey, but for curling. So I think that'd be cool if we get some kids into curling for sure.
The issue of broadening the demographics in curling isn't unique to Canada. It's a pain point in the US as well. But American Deb Martin comes to the sport giving it an infusion of passion. Her Black Curl Magic broom design celebrates the spirit, power, tenacity, and resilience of all Black women.
I absolutely knew that if I was going to get involved with this, I wanted to amplify joy. I wanted to amplify all the reasons that I'm proud to be a Black woman, that I'm proud to be a Black curling woman. And then I really just wanted to be that one beam of light that was like, this is about hope, it's about progress, not perfection, and it is about joy. And those are the intersections of the pieces of me that I wanted to kind of bring to the sport and to this design.
The greatest real estate to send a message and change hearts and minds is the brooms of the most famous players in the world, which is why it's important that so many not only have jumped on board and used brooms designed to start conversations, they've gone a step further and spoke up to keep the conversations going.
We want to make sure that everyone knows the messages behind the brooms, and so maybe if they're in our hands and we're using them and people are curious about them, like what's on their broom, it's different than normal. Hopefully that starts more conversations.
You can see it's a lot of hours put into that design. So obviously they're really good looking, but then also the statement of the broom is really nice to just go out there on the ice to showcase what you and your team stand for.
In our sport, I think that was a big step. It started the conversation and it opened the door, and now we're having, some of these kind of conversations.
I thank the curling world for the experiences I've been able to have, the people I've been able to meet, and I want that for everyone. I want everyone to honestly experience curling the way I've experienced.